Summoner's Rift. I just want to remind you what it means for both teams briefly. XL, they're currently around a 14%. I don't know if the Schalke win changes that. I assume it does, but they have a relatively slim chance already in terms of remaining scenarios to make it to playoffs, and Vitality even less so. But a win keeps them in it right now, and if Vitality were to lose, they would meet the same fate as Astralis, where it would be impossible for them to make playoffs.
XL obviously can't afford to skip a beat here because we've seen Misfits win, we've seen Schalke win, and those are the two teams they're really competing for that last spot. As we're getting into the early game here, we're not going to see anything too crazy here from the level 1. No massive shenanigans going through. XL are going to be sitting on this ward, so shouldn't be able to get the advantage here from this play. And to be honest, I'm not really expecting a huge amount either as far as just the lanes go and the champions, because both Hecarim and Lilia are those kind of power farm, full clear junglers. And yeah, it's just not going to be a huge amount as far as the early game goes.
Looks like we're going to see them start on opposite sides of the map as well. We've got Lilia starting in her red side. We have Dan on Hecarim starting in his red side. So we shouldn't get a Scuttle showdown this game. They should, I imagine, end up on opposite sides of the map for their Scuttle crabs.
Something that I think is interesting to note as well, because XL on the red side here, Dan is going to be clearing, starting at his chickens, which is what these AoE farming junglers want to do, like Hecarim, like Lilia, like Olaf. Start at the chickens and then work your way through the jungle. So Dan has now worked his way to the bot side of the jungle, whereas Skeens has started bot side and will be working his way to the top side. Now, I think that benefits Vitality because if anything's going to happen early on, I do think, like a Renekton Aatrox lane is a lane that you can potentially play around. It is a lane that, there are some potentials there for gank setup, for damage, and it is a bit of a volatile lane. So Skeens should appear on the side of the map, which has more going for it as far as setting up plays, whereas Dan won't be.
So I guess we're not expecting a huge amount of early jungle action. Put my tongue back in my mouth. Early jungle action here for either team, but obviously, as you said, that top lane might be an area that we look to play through. Now, Dan is backing. Do we envision that he now heads towards top side? He's neglected to go for the bot scuttle here. So he's actually neglected the spawn of the bot scuttle and is backing on base. Do we see a Scuttle showdown? Do we see a bit of a meet-up in top here? Although, actually, I say that. Dan looks like he's heading back to down towards bot anyway.
So the thing is, the reason why I don't think Dan would head to top side here is because I don't think he'd have much of any priority this side. Like, I think Sagenda would move down. I don't think Kryze would be able to join the fight as well. I mean, yeah, look at this. Like, Sagenda's got the push in and he's getting favorable trades. As far as Dan's concerned, the crab that's easiest for him to take would be bot side. His bot lane's also pushing in, has that prio. Skeens, though, as I mentioned, he had been clearing from bot to top, which means he's now able to also go for these Krugs here, which are only level 1, but still will give him, something to steal away. Dan hasn't gone for crab. I don't know whether he thinks Skeens has taken it, whether it's like already gone, but that is interesting. We get a cheeky dive here, though.
I mean, you were completely correct, Foxy. They're going straight in onto Kryze. First blood for Sagenda. You read him like a book, and he went straight to top lane. Dan looks lost right now. Like, what is going on? It
sucks, man. I mean, this is just the worst case scenario for him, right? Like, he gets there too late to influence the play. He's going to get there too late to even pick up his jungle scraps. And now you see that, right? He just put a ping down on the bot crab. I genuinely don't think he knew that was still up. I think he thought that was down.
Interesting theory. Do you think his bot lane went toward the Krugs, saw they were taken? Do you think he assumed that Vitality and Skeens was doing a full bot side clear into bot Krug? Like, do you think maybe that was what he assumed was going to happen?
I'm not really 100% sure, honestly. I know that something got fluffed up there in the communication, though. That is for sure. I'm not 100%, with the comms going down. I think a lot of jungle tracking and pathing, is a bit of a team coordinated effort, as you mentioned. Like, laners can ward and get yourself some info. But Dan was able to pick up that crab, so all's well that ends well in that regard. And if he gets his chickens as well, honestly, it's a bit better than Kryze, who was able to take the Krugs, because his chickens have a higher level, so they're going to yield more gold and experience, and Melitza might be in a bit of trouble here.
And Melitza, he does have flash available if he wants it, will hold onto it for a very long time, and gets punished by Shekolad. They're taking the Deficio advice to heart, and they are going to play around Shekolad a little bit in the early game.
That is interesting. I think in the early game here, really, both teams have struggled to track the enemy jungler, and it's biting them in the bum here. You saw Skeens was able to dive topside, and I don't think XL had any idea that Skeens was around there. Dan, with that mid lane gank, really did nothing special, and it's not that easy to gank an Orianna in the early game. Like, she could have easily been playing safe there if she had any suspicion that Dan was around. So good for the teams here to be able to pick up the kills there on their junglers, but I do think, you know, moving forwards here, both these teams are going to have to start respecting the jungle pressure. Maybe gets a bit more vision down, and maybe just play a little bit more safe in those lanes.
Now, Cries didn't burn flash on that tower dive, obviously. There wasn't really much outplay potential there. Looks like he's just going to play safe into Skeens right now. Torre just getting a bit aggressive in the bot lane. Again, you said bot lane wasn't really going to yield much action because of this Rel versus Alistar matchup. As I say that, though, Torre decides to go for the engage off the back of the snare from Patrick, and they will just get a re-engage back. The snare lands onto Torre, but it is essentially tit for tat at the end of the day. Nothing major.
Both of these champions as well, Rel and Alistar, love the aftershock, which means that when you're trading, the initial damage on the supports won't be that high. But if it's an extended trade, if you can drag it out a little bit, the aftershock falls off, and those champions become very, very, very squishy. So more damage coming through at the latter side of that trade right there. Lobrov as well on this Alistar. I was very impressed with his performance yesterday against SK. And I'm looking to see more repetition of that, as he might be caught out here, though.
Yeah, taken very low, was forced to flash away. Crown Shot will get the snare on Torre, but I mean, Torre's coming in with confidence in this lane right now, just looking for the engages wherever possible, and now threatening Crown Shot too.
Yeah, that's a little bit scary, though, for Lobrov. I mean, my bad, mate. I guess I jinxed you a little bit by hyping you up there. But Rel, as a champion, she loves to go in. She really does. She wants to jump in, and Alistar's good at preventing that, but if you face shake, it's not so easy to do that. Taking a look at the gold here as well, we can see that the gold is very even, but there are differences in the solo lanes for both sides. Chekolad has a lead in that mid, whereas Agenda has a lead in that top side. I mentioned, you know, top lane might be a bit more of the volatile lane to play around. I do think, especially as level 6 opens up, that really only gets more true. Both of these champions get items that they want to go a little bit more, get abilities, sorry, with their ultimates that make them go a little bit more ham. So that's something as well. If you want to pay attention to that top side, like, I'm sure there'll be something going on here. As soon as that dragon dies, and it's like free to go top side.
Well, we have the dragon spawn, but the Rift Herald has also spawned. It looks like Lobrov is roaming up on this Alistar. Now Cry is forced to dash away here. He does have flash, so he should be safe. And I think Vitality are prioritizing this Rift Herald, so it would be good if XL could essentially go straight for dragon in this scenario, but I'm not entirely sure they have the information to do so right now.
I also think going for dragon at this point, like when you've got a Jhin bot lane, you've got a Hecarim as your jungler as well, like you don't take dragon particularly fast. And I honestly think XL are just going to give this one up for free here, even though they had moved Torre away from bot side and into the mid lane. So they knew, like, they wanted to do something with him. I guess they just don't fancy this play, and honestly, that might be because of the top diff. I honestly think, you know, Renekton with his ultimate is massive. Definitely at this stage of the game will provide more utility than an Aatrox will. So XL just recognizing that and gonna leave that one to its fate. That will mean, though, Vitality will have that Herald to try and get some more gold and snowball this early game.
Yeah, they can also create a bit of free mid lane prio if they want to set up around the dragon as well, just by dropping it mid and claiming some plates and forcing XL to have to deal with it. So they've got some plays they can make over the next few minutes. And I think you're completely correct. Like, they clearly have Shigenda in a strong position in this top lane right now. They are looking to play around that side of the map, and I guess that's why they prioritized the Rift Herald over the dragon at this stage. Been relatively low sort of impact since those ganks, though. Nothing really much happening in either lanes. Even in the solo lane, Cries is starting to, I guess, bounce back a little bit. He's gone for the looks of the Bramble Vest first into Shigenda. As he pops the ultimate, and now Cries is going to back away. Dear. That's just, yeah, a free ultimate from Shigenda, and Cries took about 0 damage from it.
Cry is going to be happy with that one because that's a big threat on Renekton when he has the Dominus up. That he gets loads of health. His Fury generation gets increased as well, which means that his abilities become empowered more often. And obviously when they're empowered, they just slap. It's so painful playing versus Renekton, who has a full Fury bar. So that does mean, you know, he's going to have a bit of a breathing room in that top side. XL now positioning around the dragon. Looks like they might want to set something up. There's the face check from Lobrov.
Yeah, straight to there's the Magnet Storm into the onslaught of shadows, and now Lobrov is in the wrong place at the wrong time. Skeens will pick up one. It is support for support at the end of the day.
1-for-1 trade there, keeping the game very even so far. Even Stevens trading ganks, trading kills later on as well. I don't think this Dragon's going to go down just yet either. So not really too much to write home about right there. These teams are keen to keep the game as even as possible for this early. And maybe, you know, both teams kind of do have some late game insurance. So I also think the pressure of this situation, no one wants to throw this game, because if you do, your chances of getting into playoffs are very, very slim. So we're just going to see it. LeBron face checking in right here. Doesn't have his flash, he's going to get taken down, but Torre very, very squishy. As I mentioned, after that aftershock goes down, not going to have the survivability there. He's going to fall, but I think we might just get a repeat here. Rinse and repeat of this Dragon Dance until someone decides they actually want to kill it.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned a really good point. Like, clearly, neither team willing to take any major early game risks right now, because the gravity of the situation is that, you know, if Vitality lose, playoffs are completely gone, and it's already a slim chance as it is. And for XL, it becomes that much harder. And their remaining scenarios are going to drop to the floor if they end up losing this game. So neither team willing to take that risk, because playoffs is, albeit potentially slim, a reality for both of these teams right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And anytime playoffs reality, like for XL especially, like they haven't reached playoffs yet. They really, and it's just, it's got to weigh on you. I think this time last split, they had something like a 96% chance to make it in, or like 96% of ranked scenarios they should have got in. It was.
I don't think you want to remind Cadril that, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for saying it, but legit, I do think as the organization, like they must be just gagging for playoffs at this point. And you know, they really can't afford to slip up too much if that is what they decide. Yeah, if players are in the side, which absolutely should be. Looks like as well, though, now both teams are going to be posturing around this Dragon. It's been quite late here for that first Dragon. I think Vitality will just give this one up and move towards the top side. We're going to get another dive onto the Aatrox. Prize, you're in trouble.
I think he might be forced to flash away, trying to dance out, and he will. Fancy feet, although I'm going to say it was a relatively easy pattern to follow. But they will drop the Rift there on top. This should be first turret of the game traded for that Dragon.
I think XL now have increased their percentage of getting... Oh, never mind.
Oh, I know. The big engage onto Shekolad is forced to flash away. Here comes Dan. Now he will essentially guide Shekolad out of that engage and force him back to the mid lane.
Okay, there's trading flashes there from Shekolad and from Labrov. Really close, though. Shekolad's almost falling there, but did have the backup of his team because his team was in the bot side taking away that Dragon. The point I was going to say as well, though, XL really don't like getting first Dragon. I think it's happened in one game of all of the games they played in the split in LEC so far. So just going to contribute to that statistic, not really working in their favor, but they did trade it for the Dragon. Personally, I think that's worth it for Vitality, however, because you are getting those plates, you are unlocking topside, and yeah, it's a lot of gold into their pocket. As you can see, they've now accrued themselves a 1,000 gold lead.
We see Shekolad teleport back to the mid. I mean, yeah, the 1,000 gold lead is a pretty solid base to build from, but that's the build from, you know, like they need to do something with this now. So I guess they maybe start some rotations out. They, you know, maybe put Shigenda back into the bot lane where the towers are closer together. I mean, clearly he has got that edge right now over Kryze. It is a 1,100 gold lead in favor of Shigenda. And as you said, that early resource investment from Skeens into Shigenda specifically seems to be paying dividends for the moment for Vitality.
The thing with taking that first tower top, though, it's great for getting resources into Shigenda. You know, he does have that 1k gold lead, which is the entirety of his team's lead right now. But the thing is, I feel like it puts a Renekton in a bit of an awkward spot, because you unlock him from that lane, but he doesn't really want to push out too far because it makes him vulnerable. But he's also not a champion that necessarily wants to move around the map too much. He's very much a champion who wants to sit in lane and dominate in this early game. And if he does leave the lane, where's he going to go? Do you reckon he can get a gank set up onto mid? Can he, you know, go run down bot? He's not really that kind of champion, you know. So I do think a little bit of awkward playstyle here from Shigenda now, with that top tower being down. Because, like, yeah, look at this. You push out this far, you are just very, very runnable.
And Dan has seen the opportunity to come in for a gank. Straight up to Shigenda as he lands the charge. Shigenda taken low, and Shekolad is here with the stun. He'll pick up a kill. 2-0 on Shekolad Syndra for XL.
That is the risk. Right as I was saying, you know, bringing that tower down, I think it does make it a little bit harder for Shigenda to play. And we'll have to see how this one develops here, whether Vitality want to go for maybe more of a lane swap situation, and just how they want to utilize this Renekton, because, you know, he was the strong part of this Vitality lineup, and it would be a shame if they weren't able to do something with that.
I'm thinking a lot about how these team fights play out, because clearly both teams have got team fight orientated compositions. And by the way, as you've just seen on your screen, Leandri's has now been finished for the Orianna. I kind of want to talk about how team fight comps work. I'm wondering whether XL are not keen to start the objectives themselves, because their comp is much better at engaging on a team that has started the objective. I'm wondering if that's why they're not so keen to just go straight for the objective, you know, especially in the early game, because they have a comp that's very much good at being the proactive aggressor onto an objective, rather than having to like disengage and try and play it that way, because obviously you want to keep Patrick as far away from the action as possible with the curtain call. So I'm just wondering about the mechanics of the team fight here. Is that something that you think XL are thinking about how they actually want to approach these big team fights around objectives?
I think it always plays into your favor if you can make the enemy team engage, because more often than not, you're going to force the enemy team into a position where they're going to be grouped up, or they're not going to really have the freedom to move around, like to navigate the objective wherever that might be, in the river or in the jungle. And when they're in that situation, they're a little bit easier to fight. So definitely, XL would love it if Vitality walked out to objectives and then Vitality could collapse on top of them. Question is whether or not Vitality will let XL do that. Whether Vitality will just walk up and let XL get the re-engage. I do think for XL side of things, their engage is actually pretty strong, with that Hecarim jumping in, with that Rel as well, and then with Jim being able to do his things from far away to assist on an engage. If we can get like a TP flank from Cries comboed up with like an engage from the squad, I think it's pretty good for XL. Something to note though, however, and really important to keep track of as this game goes on, Dan has gone for Triforce, so he's more of like a carry focused Hecarim, and if he does dive in, he will be quite vulnerable.
We've got teleport here. Labrov getting caught out potentially, has got the ultimate popped for the time being. Will be able to get out. I thought potentially we were going to see a bit of a dance around this dragon. Doesn't mean that we won't. 20 seconds until spawn, but XL are grouping up around mid for now.
Both teams are just trying really hard to get that mid push so that they can then move into the river, get set up here. Vitality so far have been the ones able to do that. Now it's XL's turn to try and get a mid push as they want to then move into the jungle and again work on that vision as this pink ward's going to go down. It does look like Vitality being pushed out here. Be a little bit careful, XL. Don't go too far forward. Actually, might just be that dragon. So Vitality are going to give that one up. They're going to move into the top side. I hope they're going to put some vision down or something and actually trade something for this dragon, get a bit of a cross map play. That is 2 dragons now to XL.
And it's the Mountain Soul that we will see in 2 dragons' time as well. The dragon timer has been delayed longer than it usually would be. The first dragon wasn't taken for quite some time in this game, so we probably won't see the soul until a little bit later on into this game. You usually, especially when you see teams like take dragons straight away, you usually see souls pop up around the 23-minute, 24-minute mark. It'll be a little later than that this time.
Agenda.
I think he's walked. Yeah, he's walked in the trap. The Dominus has been popped for the time being. Dan is not particularly tanky right now, and Torre is forced to disengage with the teleport coming through. Oh, nice flash out of the shockwave, and Shekolad, the cavalry, is here as he gets a good start away from Labrov. Now getting caught out, forced to flash himself. Will take a huge amount of damage in the meantime, though, and XL actually coming off better from this engage.
Now, it was really close, but in the top side of the map here, you've got Xayah and Lilia putting pressure down onto Cries, just getting that wave pushed in. XL will be very happy with that one, though. They're able to get this pressure here, push Vitality away. Vitality did obviously dedicate a fair amount of resources onto that play, and they are gonna, XL is gonna have to pick up that tower, which is very nice for them. And now Crownshot just, doing what Crownshot does. This is a player who just soaks up all the resources and then, kind of carries on these AD carries as the game goes on. And he's sitting quite pretty there on that 7k gold. But do keep your eyes on Crownshot and how he moves around the map, and more specifically where Vitality puts him on the map, so that he often just takes lanes where he can get the most farm. And to be honest, as a strategy, I feel like Vitality have had quite a bit of success doing that.
I do just want to draw your attention. You might have just seen the gold graphs popped up a second ago. Milica is now actually level, if not, I think it even is slightly ahead of gold from Shekolad, and I assume it's because of the plates that were funneled into him from the mid lane. He was, initially I think about 800 gold behind, so they've managed to equalize that differential in the mid lane. Good news for the Orianna, who is such a big carry. It's going to get stunned up. I love the combo between the Deadly Flourish and the Scatter the Weak from the Syndra and the Jhin, but they're not able to convert on it just yet. We are still waiting for something to fight over. Like, these teams, they don't want to brawl for no reason. As we said before, there is a lot on the line for both of these teams at the back of this game, so there's no point randomly brawling without reason. And XL know that they don't want to take any risks, but they don't have the information to guarantee success.
You got to keep your eye on that combo as well from Chekolad. This Q into stun combo followed up by the Jin, because it's something that you can then follow up with Hecarim, with Aatrox, with Rel. Like, it by itself doesn't do a huge amount, but it definitely sets up very nicely as Chekolad here. Ooh, you got to be careful. There is a mad cow sitting in that bush. Ooh, he might be in a bit of a pickle, but XL is around. I'm not sure they want to go for that.
It's Lavrov behind enemy lines right now. What's going on here, mate? What's going on here? I'm not sure that's the play. He's going for it, though. He catches Dan out. The spy mission works. Oh, my word. Absolute saboteur. As Lavrov now gleefully walks to his team, and they're going to start at Baron.
Mate, honestly, Lavrov, mate, I'm sorry I doubted you. You knew what you were doing all along. That was a perfect movement. He's going for some more sneaky movement here as well. He's trying to get behind the XL lineup. Vitality going for this Baron.
They are. Lavrov again behind enemy lines, or rather behind his own lines as the curtain call comes through, trying to buy time. Here comes Torre into the pit, trying to buy a little bit of space. As now Cries in the front line, pops his ultimate. Shekelad is there, the curtain call missing. This is a good fight for Vitality right now, but Shekelad buys one back. It's 1-for-1 overall as the shockwave hits the headbutt. Pulv is there, and Shekelad will drop. In the meantime, though, is the Drowsy, and it's forcing XL away. That was, honestly, I made it sound more impactful than it was, but Vitality did come out just about ahead.
No, that was a really big fight and a really important one as well. It was only a 2-for-1 in the favor of Vitality, but crucially for XL, they were able to deny that Baron. They stopped that from going down, and I do think, honestly, like Vitality really should have tried to focus that Baron down, because it was on like 2k health towards the end of that fight. So this is, we're being caught up on the play here where Dan's already dead to James Bovine as he was sitting in that bush catching people out all sneaky deaky like. But look at this, right? This is where the play starts. 4,000 health on Baron, 3,000 health on Baron. Vitality are kind of split here. Some are going for the turn, some are staying on the objective. And I really think that's what cost them here. Look at that, 2.5k now onto Baron, 2k onto Baron. I think Vitality should have dedicated to that. I think they should have gone for that Baron play. Because as it is, 2 kills is nice, but I think, honestly, potentially, you had the opportunity to get even a little bit more there with that Baron take.
We have the Soul, or the Soul Point Dragon coming up here for XL, a third of the game. They have actually burnt Flash from Patrick from that previous engage, which was a relatively big pickup for them. They don't have any vision of the red side entrance, although they do get a nice route onto Lavrov to begin things right now. Vitality keen to secure this Dragon, though. They don't want to give XL the opportunity for Soul Point here. They have already started it, but XL want the fight. Torre looking for the engage. Shigenda forced to pop Dominus to begin with, but yet it's locked up by the Deadly Flourish into the stun, and they'll pick up the kill. But the Dragon has gone over. I don't know if Dan's done yet. Onslaught of Shadows over the wall onto Militza, who is taken low, but they are out of range. The Shockwave looked nice, but it was a disengaging Shockwave at the very most.
1 kill for Dragon. I think you take that if you're Vitality, especially since, as you mentioned, it denies the Soul Point for XL. So this game is going to go a little bit longer before one of these teams is going to be able to pick up that big Mountain Soul buff, which will be quite nifty, honestly, considering these teams will probably be scrapping a lot in these team fights, and the shield will make a big difference. But Vitality, I think, you know, definitely going to be happy with that one. And now we're going to see from that Dragon here, there's nothing really that XL can even take for it. You saw they mostly just went for that reset. So even though, you know, just losing one team member, it can mean a lot, or it can mean very little. You know, the number by itself doesn't tell the whole story. Sometimes losing one person will lose you Baron. Sometimes losing one person will lose you a game. Sometimes losing one person doesn't really lose you anything, and that's the case here for Vitality.
And I think we're going back to a relatively quiet period of the match now. Obviously, Baron being the only thing left available. There is a tier 1 tower that XL could force down. I don't think Vitality are going to look to respond to this. They are in no way making a big move for it. And I think I want to take a look at the items now, because we have mythics being completed across the board. You'll notice that Lilia has actually not picked up a mythic. I think she just has the Zhonya's. This is something that I think we originally saw in the LCK, where Lilias would pick up the Zhonya's because they would often want to jump in, get a huge sweep of the twig, and look for like a 4-man sleep. But no mythic yet completed, although it is, I'm sure, very soon for Skeens. Major item spikes are being hit, though. Wait a second, Shekelad might have overcommitted. That's the flash engage from Lavrov once more. I think Shekelad, I'm not sure about that flash. I'm not sure about the flash. This is shut down here for Militza, and this might be another opportunity for Vitality to push onto Baron.
Vitality definitely want to look for this Baron right here. If they've timed their TPs well, they know that Shekelad doesn't have that up either, and I can't 100% tell, but I don't think it will be up when he's alive. So this should just be a clean 4v5 for Vitality to either look for Baron,
Mate,
get
look
the
at him.
vision around, or do something at least.
Labrov is just so sneaky, dude. I mean, the Hex Flash over the wall keeps himself safe there, obviously, but he is sneaky. He is looking for the big flank plays on this Alistar.
So I feel like this is a little bit of a mistake for Vitality, like not going for the Baron there. I honestly think that's one of the weaknesses of XL's team comp, especially when Syndra is dead. If you're going for Baron, the only way that XL can really stop you is by hard committing. Like, how's a Hecarim going to stop you unless he's jumping in? How's a Rogue going to stop you unless she's jumping in? Jhin is the exception to that, but he was kind of low on mana. But either way, a curtain call's not going to stop you altogether. Like, you're not going to get poked out. I think you're pretty safe to take the Baron. You don't even have to dedicate to it, but you can at least force them in and take the fight, and you'll win that fight for sure.
I'm gonna offer a counterpoint, and
go for it.
You know, I'm not the most intelligent bloke in the world, but I'm going to offer a counterpoint and see how you feel about it.
You're literally a trained doctor, by the way. I just want to put that as a caveat.
Okay, I maybe sold myself a little bit short. My counterpoint is that do you think that's because that's what XL's comp wants to do? Like, they want to find the engage onto the objective while it's being done because they have such strong engage tools, and they already have the space for free from Patrick. Ooh. That was a big play from Crownshade that went to go for the engage, but maybe Vitality are worried that kind of the XL's comp. My thought process is that maybe they just feel like that's the engage that XL wants. They don't want to give it to them for free, even if they only have a one-man advantage.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Honestly, it does play into XL's playbook there, but I also just wonder, would XL be able to kind of pull that off there? I'm not 100% sure, honestly, but maybe you're right. Honestly, maybe you're 100% right, because you're not wrong in the sense that, you know, XL does want to dogpile into these fights, and maybe Vitality are just playing extra respect to that.
Yeah.
But I also think, you know, like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? So for Vitality, that is something where potentially that could come back to bite them in the bum. But again, we've said this before, but I just think the pressure of these games, where for both these teams, like, if you lose for Vitality, you are out of playoffs. You cannot qualify for playoffs. And if you lose and you're XL, the chances of you making it become very, very slim. So no one really wants to make that big play. I think maybe that's a bit of hesitation pulling the trigger just because of the stakes of this game.
And I think that, you know, the desk talked about it before we went in. For XL, strength of schedule-wise, this is the easiest matchup they have in terms of strength of schedule. They have Rogue and G2. It would have to be like them playing out of their minds as they catch out Cries at the beginning. Sterak's has already popped and he is forced to bounce away. XL get nothing, almost no damage in return. That little pick-off, and honestly, Labrov has been making some pog engages, dude. Like, he really has.
He's smart. He's smart, mate. I remember when he was playing in the UK scene, back when I was casting, way back when. And he was always touted as that up-and-coming guy, and people always said his brain was just fat. He just had a big fat brain, and you're seeing it in this game, just the way he moves around the map. You know, it's not, Alistar may not be the most mechanically enticing champion in the game, but the way that Labrov has moved around the map is really impressive, because honestly, Vitality don't have a lot of big engage on their team. They don't have that big go button. It really comes down to the Alistar Orianna combo, which isn't like amazing. It's decent, but it's not crazy good. But Labrov is still able to find those engages, still able to catch XL out of position, because he's just playing the map really, really well.
And I think both teams not willing to sort of, even from that commit onto, you know, from Labrov onto Cries, you could see Vitality were not willing to just go the extra step when they didn't feel comfortable. And I really do think that pressure is weighing on their shoulders. I know we've talked about it so much, but it is something that is maybe influencing the style of play that we've seen from both of these teams right now.
As a counterpoint to that, though, they got a dragon, right?
True.
They got what they wanted at that point. You don't need to go balls deep there because you can just go straight into the dragon, and then again, you're way happy with that, right? So I think honestly, Vitality will be like, you chunk out Cries, and suddenly it's essentially a 4v5, and then just use that tempo, bam, take the dragon, and that's what Vitality did.
I think Vitality, I mean, this is just my personal opinion, I think Vitality overall scale a bit better as well. So I think that, like, they're okay with letting this go a little bit later on, because like the XL scaling gets a little limited, I suppose, in a way. Although XL may be looking for an engage here, they are flanking through. Cries comes through, there's the curtain call as well. They're going to catch onto Labrov. Teleport countered on the side, and Labrov, he is tanky, man. Look at how tanky this man is. And Shigenda now has the flank straight onto Cries. I mean, Dan just pieces out. He's not even interested. Onslaught of Shadows straight out of the fight, and Vitality in such a good spot as Labrov finds Shekolat into the stun from Shigenda, and Shekolat absolutely obliterated. That is Vitality now going for Baron.
They're going to win the fight, and as you mentioned, they're going to take this Baron as well. The first big fight of the game that's going to break this open and give a significant lead to one of our teams here, Vitality. They were the ones getting engaged on. Ender said it on the desk. He thought that whenever Excel takes a proactive play before 15 minutes, it never works out for them, and they just want to chill and scale. Well, how about this, Ender? 30 minutes into the game, they take the proactive play, it doesn't work out for them. Maybe we need to raise the bar of how long they are and not allowed to engage for it, because it is here. Look, Lavrov is the one being caught out, but I kind of want you to keep your eyes on Dan. Look at that. He got pushed forward there. He gets chunked out, and now he has to use his ultimate to dip as he's about to get drowsy. I think, honestly, this is the problem. This is one of the problems that XL have had throughout the entire spring split, is Dan has kind of struggled to find his identity and the playstyle he wants to do, because this Hecarim is a Triforce Sterex Hecarim with CDR boots. It's a damage Hecarim. This is not a Hecarim that just wants to engage and set up his team.
And he did 404 damage. He did 404 damage in that fight as well.
Like, this is the thing, is like, don't get me wrong, like in that situation, there's not much Dan can do. But if Dan has built like this, he needs to do something a bit different. Like, he needs to play a bit different, whether that's earlier on or whether he just needs to position a bit differently. But playing this kind of like front to back where he just jumps in isn't going to work with the build that he's got. And you can see like XL just not quite able to find that pick, which leads to this Red Bull Baron power play for Vitality.
And what can they do with that? Can I just double down on something here? Lavrov is a giga smurf this game. Like, that headbutt onto Dan is why Dan did nothing that game. Like, he poled and headbutted Dan straight into the fight. Dan couldn't find an aggressive onslaught of shadows. Lavrov has been giga smurfing on this Alistair, and I think really has been some of the driving force behind how Vitality have come out so ahead in these team fights, just through the mechanics of how he's actually approaching them.
Tori's going to get spotted out here on that sweeper, even though there's no vision there for Vitality. They're going to see that he's there. Vitality now using this Baron buff to do a 4-1, which is Agenda in the bot side, who should be able to go toe-to-toe with Cries. Problem is here for Vitality, you can't overstep too much. We know that XL have very good go button, good engage. If you get put out of position for any means, you are going to be in a bit of a pickle.
Gotta say, this is a new Vitality. Like, what happened to them? Like, the win yesterday is giving them a whole new lease of life. They are playing like unlike I've seen them play for quite some time, and they are believing in their very own Schalke-style miracle run. You know, after this split, we may be naming it the Vitality Miracle Run, because they had an even lower chance, I think, to potentially make it to that situation where playoffs was a reality. But they need to take it one step at a time. Lavrov getting caught out here takes a lot of damage to begin with. He is low. He is very low off the back of that. Patrick will pick up the kill. That's actually a big pick. I just spent so long praising Lavrov, and he held on to his ultimate.
I did it at the beginning of the game where I was praising him. I said he had a great game yesterday, and then he got caught out and almost died, and you just did it there as well. It's classic. It's classic Castle Curse stuff. But for XL, at least getting that pick is very good for them, because it's 20 seconds before the dragon spawns. Picking up this dragon now puts them 1 away from Soul, which is very important, because, you know, XL have been really going up against it here. They've been struggling. But if they can find a way to sneak that Soul in the next, you know, in 5 minutes time when that does spawn, really could turn the game on its head.
So Vitality didn't get a huge amount done with Baron, realistically. That was actually a relatively, I think from what I can see anyway, they didn't crack the base, they didn't take too many towers with it. They are still looking to maneuver through the red side jungle and keep that pressure on. And in terms of gold lead right now, it's about a 4,000 gold lead. That's not insignificant, but when you're at 35 minutes into the game, it's not as, you know, as significant as it could be, I would say. You know, this is still a relatively winnable game for both teams.
It's definitely not a game-breaking lead right here for Vitality. XL moving together now, playing the buddy system here, just making sure they can protect Shekalad, because I do believe it was a little bit of Shekalad's pushing in top lane, getting himself killed, that led to this, almost led to Vitality taking one of the Barons. So they definitely don't want to be in that situation again. Alistair's just having a grand old time in that mid lane. Look at him. Floating around.
Yeah, we don't talk about the shockwave. We'll just ignore the shockwave that happened there, won't we? We'll just ignore that. It's on a low cooldown. It's on a low cooldown. I mean, XL have got a limited window to abuse it.
He is exploiting that Z-axis right now, and he's just floating around having a great time right there. Lavrov is going to be sweeping around away this vision as Baron should be spawning soon. Oh, they're putting the trigger on the Drowsy. Vitality see this one. That is Dan and Patrick both slept up. Not going to lead into anything though. Dan just uses the Onslaught of Shadows to dip out of that situation. Vitality not going to be able to pull the trigger and catch them out there, but that is something, you know, that is something putting pressure on the XL side. Is Mr. Scoundrel back with us, or is he still Mr. Robo? He is here. No, you, okay. Okay, I'm gonna keep going here. So, Vitality, you know, they're always having control of the map right here, and I think that's really, really important when you're playing around these objectives. But we have seen Lebrov get caught out a little bit, and there he is. So when Lebrov's playing safe, they're all Gucci, and, you know, Vitality just using that advantage.
Mate, I heard you a little bit of play-by-play player. That's not bad, Foxy. I think you're threatening my job, mate. Labrov finds the engage back with the down, though. Here comes the teleport. In the meantime, Cry's buying space on the front line. Shigenda will back out. Labrov chunked 80% of his HP off that engage. And got to be a little careful now, as they are now being threatened around the Baron pit.
Yes, mate, it's tale as old as time. Song as old as rhyme. I don't know who the beauty is, but Labrov is the beast in this case. He just keeps getting chunked out. He sets a little bit too far forward. And this just happens, man. It just happens. Like, I do think he has been the catalyst for Vitality when they've made good stuff happen, when they've been able to get these engages. But maybe he's looking a little bit too hard. Maybe he feels the pressure, because as I did mention before, he is their primary form of engage. And an Alistair engage, you know, it's good if you're close to people, obviously. He has a great combo there to just CC the living daylights out of an enemy team. But when you're talking about trying to get in onto the fight, that's a whole different story. Alistair is not quite so good at that.
I think you're seeing exactly what you mentioned earlier, Foxy. Like, Alistair is the engage, and if he can't get the engage off that sets up Vitality, they're kind of limited, and Labrov is left on an island. Whereas XL, they have multiple avenues that they can look to exploit with their engage. And this is one of them. The Magnet Storm, the Onslaught Shadow is not so good, but Patrick thrown into the middle of the team fight. The Drowsy has landed, and Crown Shots on the backline, tearing XL up. Vitality, a double kill for the AD carry, and oh my word, XL put in the dirt.
XL thought they had the play right there, Rel jumping in for the engage. It was pretty good. It was a pretty good engage, but they forgot to consider one thing. Crown Shot right there, bending time in his inventory. He had the stopwatch. Xayah is already a champion that is pretty good at keeping herself safe with that Feather Storm, but had even more tools to her disposal. And in that situation right there, XL, despite getting the first jump, despite getting that first engage, weren't able to close out the team fight. It is the second Red Bull Baron power play for Vitality. We're going to watch this one go down again. Look at that. Tori jumps in. It's pretty decent. But watch the stopwatch. There it is. Crown Shot gets caught out, and that's just, I mean, it sucks. It's painful for Vitality, but he does not care. He has the stopwatch. Conversely, Jeskler, he gets caught out, and what does he have? Nothing. He's just going to get sent straight to the grey screen and entry into the obituaries, and that's the team fight.
And that was a really nice use of the feathers as well from Crown Shot. Just stack them up and drag them over the top of Patrick to get him killed in that situation. And XL now on the ropes, you feel, versus Vitality.
I do think this has been, you know, with Crown Shot coming into the Vitality lineup, replacing Comp. Now, I don't think Comp was a problem at all with Vitality's previous woes, but just this is what Crown Shot offers. I don't know whether it's like the voice that he provides in the team, to, you know, to just in these team fights, or just like kind of making the calls as the game goes on, or something like that. But just he is very consistent. When you get to this point in the game, Crown Shot is a great AD carry to have in your side of the ring, and he's proving it right there. That last team fight, like 5k damage, absolutely nuts.
And he's 5-0-5 right now. They are brute forcing through this inhibitor turret for the time being. Vitality, they want to keep that 2% remaining scenarios, and they want to up that percentage. They want to keep themselves in the running for playoffs right now, and a win here would be the first step for them. They are tiptoeing around the entrance to the base. They don't want to give anything away at this stage in the game, but they are strong. You should not count them out, even if they go into a full-on brawl. Crown Shot is a monster on this carry. He has the GA as well, I believe, too, so he even has that extra comeback mechanic if they need it in the middle of a team fight.
Even though XL have great engage, finding a window to execute that is going to be really, really tricky here. I do think Vitality have done a good job. You know, you have Lebrov up there to block. You have Renekton up there to block as well. So taking a look at the gold here too. Skeens is really, really pulling away. Crown Shot as well, having an advantage there. I mean, we're starting to get to the point where the gold isn't a huge issue, because people are really just kind of completing their builds. So Doesn't matter if you're 5k gold ahead when you're both sitting on 6 items. So as the game goes on, that will mean less and less. But all in all, you know, with these Zhonyas coming through, you've got 2 Zhonyas on the side of Vitality. You've got that Guardian Angel as well. There's a lot of survivability on that first engage from XL, and you know, XL just have to be really, really careful with how they execute.
I mean, I think the question is, like, how can they execute at this point in time? Like, you have to somehow kill Crown Shot. He has Featherstorm, he has Guardian Angel, he has, I think, Flush coming up relatively soon. If that Flush is up, I don't see a good way for XL to kill what is clearly the X factor for the Vitality teamfights right now.
100% agree. It's so hard to get onto the Crown Shot, and I think the way you've got to look at it, the way you've got to approach fights, isn't to necessarily jump directly onto Crown Shot, but think of him as like a banana. Okay, he's the fruit of the banana. You've got to get rid of the peel first, and so you know you start with the skin. You know, you start with the skin.
Are you describing how to peel a banana on air? I'm not sure.
And it's a metaphor, mate. And that's the brov. You know, that's the brov. That's the gender. Once you get rid of the skin, then you can start devouring the flesh on the inside.
Oh, I love the. Oh my word! You had to say it that way as well, didn't you, Foxy? You had to say it that way.
That sounds a bit bad. You know what I mean.
I learned that Foxy really loves bananas, and let's see if the banana can remain skin on for Vitality as they head into this top lane inhibitor push. Shigenda's a pretty tough skin though, Foxy. He's a pretty tough skin. He's going to be. He require more than a gentle fingernail to peel that one.
Most reptiles do tend to be in that category there. And Vitality, they have the pick of the lid. There it is, XL engage.
And they go straight on. Crown Shot has the Featherstorm though. He is safe for the time being. Dan tries to charge in, but the G8 is there. And right now, Labrov is buying time on the front line. Vitality are back up and running. Crown Shot, the engine on the back line now as well. Going toe-to-toe with Prize. He will drop down. Skeens is there, however, and he will keep himself safe. The curtain call comes through. Milica is there as well, but Shigenda still the tough skin of the banana, and he is not yet peeled. He's continuing to back out of the team fight. They get the inhibitor, and I think with Milica they should be able to get away. Shigenda has the shield, the shockwave, and Shigenda's back in. I didn't know it, but banana peels bite back, and they're going straight onto Cries, and they'll get the double kill for Milica. This could be the game-ending push for Vitality.
They don't have the Baron buff, they don't have the 80 carry for the range siege. They're going to decide to back away from that one, but what a turn at the end there from Vitality. This is it, right? EXO have great engage and they're looking for the window to make it happen. They haven't been able to find it so far this game, but finally Torre on that rail, catching Crown Shot out of position. And to be honest, like I was saying, like you kind of want to focus the peel first before you get to the insides, but no, they just go on to Crown Shot. It's so hard with the Featherstorm, with the Guardian Angel, but it still works out for XL. And look at Cries, there it is. Crown Shot just steps a little bit too far forward in that fight, gets caught by the Q1, and when he gets caught by that, it's easy to follow up with the rest of the combo. And yeah, like Cries, Aatrox in these late game team fights provides so much power, so much strength and utility. If nothing else, he gets so much healing as well. And that's just it. You're able to run, well, you think you're able to run the rest of the fight down, but obviously Vitality able to turn that around and salvage some kills in that position.
So XL lose another inhibitor. And I think Vitality, realistically, despite not getting the game-ending team fight there, will be happy with the outcome. This is a lot of pressure in the side lanes, and XL are just currently boxed into their base. They are struggling to get out. We are nearly 45 minutes into this game. This is a risk-averse game, but they're going to pick up the soul. That is a 4-stacked Mountain Soul picked up as well. That is another layer of the banana, Foxy. It's the exterior mountain layer of the banana that has been picked up by Vitality.
That it is. It just makes it even harder now for XL to execute these team fights, because it was already hard enough, honestly. I mean, if you run back that last team fight, which did work well for XL, with this Baron, with this Mountain, so I don't think it works out for them, and this is going to be it. No, Baron's just going to go down, but they're going to go in.
Dan's a little bit too late to the party. Cries, and Dan versus the world, but he's already dead. The horse is down, and the rest of XL are running with their tails between their legs. Right now, Vitality are on the run. They are looking for this game. They want to keep their playoff dreams alive, and they are cleaning XL up. Patrick runs, and he's got nowhere to go. Cries should surely drop to Milica. Inhibitor minions are being teleported to. Vitality want more than a 2% chance. They want this run to continue. They're starting their very own miracle run, and the first scalp they're taking is XL. A big win from a team that has needed it for so long.
XL extend their losing streak to 7 games, but more importantly, Vitality, their first 2-0